couple moments to join on here. And welcome to meditation this morning. It's 10 o'clock on December 7th on a Monday. A little dreary day out here. I'm in South Haven, Michigan with my mom. And a little cool and dreary, but we'll bring in some sunshine to our meditation. So thanks for joining, and let's give it a minute or two. Okay, it's 10:02. There's a couple minutes for people to get on, so I think we'll go ahead and start things off. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to meditation on this Monday morning. And it's December 7th already. We're coming up to a brand new year, which I know from most people's perspective, they're very happy to hear that. So thank you for joining this morning. Let's meditate. So just getting yourself comfortable with wherever you're at. And I'd much rather have you be comfortable than just get yourself comfortable so that in a way that you can be conscious and mindful and aware during this meditation. That's the most important thing. With that said, if you fall asleep, like my teacher used to say, then your body probably needed it. And the good news is when you fall asleep in meditation that you're in a very deep level so it can take you to a deeper sleep actually. So it's all good however it plays out. Just taking in a nice deep breath. And just really letting go of any stress, burdens, worries. And just really anything that is less than peace, just let it go. Anything that is less than peace. You don't need to hold on to anything. And how do I know that? Because when you connect with your true self, you see that there's only peace that is left. So if you have any stories, beliefs, thoughts that are anything less than love, peace, and joy, then it is not coming from the truth of who you are and does not belong as part of this meditation or really as part of your life. So just emptying out any heaviness that you have physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And how do you empty it out? Just simply by making a choice to say, you know what, God, or Jesus or Buddha or Krishna or whoever your go-to is, I'm just giving all this over to you, and I can assure you God would gratefully and gladly take it from you because God knows what to do with it, and God is always happy for us to just let go of all this craziness, all this baggage that we're holding so tightly onto. And what is that baggage? It's just old beliefs. Old beliefs that somehow we have been convinced by the mind, by the ego, that that is the truth of who we are. So right now, I just invite you to let go of all of the past. And I do mean all of it. Certainly all the shame, all the guilt, and all the blame that you've accumulated over the years, over time. But also letting go of all of your judgment as well. Judgment of yourself, judgment of others, which is really kind of blame. Letting go of your opinions, especially the ones that say, I know I am right about this. That kind of approach is perhaps the most dangerous approach that we can have. And if you look at perhaps some of the most evil crimes in this world of humanity, it's because the person was convinced that they knew what was best. So I'm inviting you to let go of all those things you think you know, or you say, I know this is true. And you don't need to carry any beliefs anyhow, because that's not who you are. And it gets in the way of being who you are. Your authentic self, your God self, whatever you want to call it, does not exist because of all your knowledge, your so-called intelligence, your beliefs, opinions. It actually exists beyond all of those things. When Jesus speaks of to enter the kingdom of God, you have to be like a child. What was Jesus referring to then? He was referring to the innocence of a child. But like everyone, our parents do their best, and their parents did their best, and their parents above them did their best. But we don't have any guide. As all of us as parents, we do the best we can. And so, but what's true during that time is we come from our place of fear sometimes. And my son Maverick has taught me over and over how I think I know what the truth is, and he will challenge me on it, and I'm like, yep, he's right. I need to let go of that. So I just invite you to let go of all these beliefs, all these things that we think we know to be true. It's the cup of knowledge. And if your cup is so full because of everything you think you know, or everything you say, I know, it doesn't make room for possibilities. Because if you knew the truth right now, you would be rooted in the truth of who you are. Now, the truth of who you are never leaves you. You cannot get rid of it. It's only veiled by an illusion of who you think you are. So right now, all the stories of who you think you are, all those beliefs, all the self-image, the personality, I invite you just to simply make the choice to say, I choose to let go of all of that. Because I know that by letting go of all of that, there's something on the other side, this pureness, this state of heaven. Not heaven as some kind of place in the sky that we go to, but heaven as a state of being. And I love when Jesus says the kingdom of God is at hand. It's right here, right now. The question is, how do we access it? How do we be that truth? And so my approach has always been, I shouldn't say always, but for a long time has been letting go of that which we are not, so that the truth of who we are can reveal itself. We can discover that truth. And we don't have to wait for a physical death to access the state of heaven. What is helpful is, and many of the yogis, master teachers will share this, is sometimes you have to die before you can live. Meaning not a physical death, but a death of the ego, a death of all your beliefs of who you have thought yourself to be. What if you were exactly perfect, exactly the way you are? And I know the mind's going to be like, well, yeah, you say that, but you don't know me. You don't know all the bad things I've done or said, and you don't know that I'm not worthy of God's love. Those are all just stories, old beliefs that you carry around that block you from recognizing that you are in alignment with God. And God may be the ocean, but you are still a drop of water out of that ocean. So you are the same pureness and truth that God is. And even as the drop of water, you're still part of the oneness of the whole ocean. Oneness with all of existence. And it's sometimes easier to see that when we recognize that we are not anything physical. And I say this a lot because we can never fully recognize our true self if we believe that we are some kind of physical form. But if we were only a physical form, or even part of a physical form, when our physical form passes, which it does, and our physical mind passes, which it does, what happens? Do we just disappear? We exist no longer? Science shows us that energy can never die. The soul can never die. And so what is that? How does the soul still recognize that it exists beyond the physical form when it dies? It recognizes this because it has its own divine intelligence that is beyond the mind. It has its own memories that are beyond the mind. And as always, I never ever ask you to believe what I'm sharing. I just invite you to explore with me. I'm just inviting you to come out and play. Do you want to come out and play and go for a walk and just explore what the infinite possibilities are? And to me, the greatest way to play, the greatest way to just explore is just to let go of it all and see what kind of freedom you experience. Our country is known to talk about freedom, but what's also true is most people really, not even in this country, but in the world, do not understand what true freedom is. Because no matter how much physical space you have, if you are carrying around burdens and worries and fears, what kind of freedom is that? So I am simply offering you the greatest freedom of all, and that is freedom from the belief that we are our minds or our bodies or our thoughts or beliefs or feelings or experiences or memories. We are none of those things. And I'm inviting you right now to just let go of it all. And the mind might say, no, I don't know if I want to let go of it. I don't know if I should let go of it. Even just for one moment. Even just for one moment, just let it all go and just see what happens. And if you want to pick it up after a minute, fine, pick it up. But even better yet, just explore for this meditation. And if there's anything you want to pick up, it's easy enough just to say, no, I don't want to do that. Sometimes I tell you how perfect you are, but it's really just words. And there will never be enough words to sufficiently just describe who you are. As far as I can see, the only thing that can be provided at best is to help you to let go of, or there's a lot of different approaches to not just meditation but healing modalities to help you to discover the truth, but they're all about clearing out that which you are not. Because all of those things, again, are the illusion to block you from recognizing your true self. In Sanskrit, that word is called Maya, the great illusion. So what if you were everything that you were looking for? And what's true is you can empty out everything. You can empty out absolutely everything except for one thing, and that is you. You can never empty out you. You can never get rid of you, because you are the only true thing that exists. A Course in Miracles tells us the rest of it is an illusion. But don't just believe me. We're just exploring here. We're just going on a little adventure. We spend so much time trying to correct ourselves, fix ourselves, change ourselves for the sake of being happy. But who is trying to be happy? Certainly your mind and ego want to be happy. And you want to be happy as well. It's what we're all here for. But the difference is that the mind, the ego, thinks it knows what happiness is. And so it will go out seeking. When I do this, then I'll be happy. When this happens, then I'll be happy. People spend their whole lifetimes, depending on what you believe, waiting for happiness to show up. And when they're not happy, then they try to figure out, they get in their head to try to figure out why they're not happy and what they need to do to become happy. So right now, I invite you to let go of all waiting. There's nothing to wait for. Happiness, peace, love, who you are is right here, right now. It has always been that way. It will always be that way. So letting go of any agenda or intention that you have for this meditation. It's not required, nor is imagination. You don't need to enhance this meditation in some way or do energy healing work for those energy healers. Those are all things that engage the mind, which is not who you are. And just coming back to being aware of your breath. And there's nothing you need to do with the breath. It happens all by itself, wonderfully, beautifully, supports you in this physical body. And as always, when we start to go into the stillness, I shouldn't say always, but most of the time thoughts come in. Sometimes a little bit, and sometimes a whole bunch. It doesn't matter which one. And we've all had moments where there's a place of stillness, and one of my favorite verses out of the Bible is, "Be still and know that I am God." It's when that we can best connect with God when our mind is quiet. But sometimes the mind needs to be busy because it's trying to it's somehow reflecting back from the universe, from life. It's reflecting back things that are askew, things that are out of alignment or disharmonious in our lives. And so where we see stress, where we see fear, where we see challenges, where we see suffering, these are all red flags that our thinking is askew in some ways. And what we generally do is we will blame others or blame the situation for our problem. If only they would have said this or done this. If only this would have happened. I invite you to let go of all the if-onlys or needing life to be any different than what it is. What if life is exactly the way it needs to be? And it's only our fighting it, our resistance to it, that makes it feel like something else needs to happen. And I remember saying this in my talk yesterday. God is not challenging us. We are simply feeling challenged by God because we don't like what God gave us. We want it to be different. We think at some level the mind, the ego says, no, this is not right. But I ask you the question, who do you want to be in charge? Your mind that is rooted in fear, judgment, blame, shame, guilt, that is rooted in the world of duality of good and bad? Or God, that is a place of innocence, of peace, of joy, of love, of unlimited and infinite possibilities, all rooted in love. So when you're feeling a challenge and you're noticing your mind is wanting it to be different than what it is, as soon as you can become aware of that, just let that thought, that belief pass on by, or give it back over to God, and just come back to the present moment, the perfect present moment. And so once again, just coming back to being consciously aware of the breath. And when the mind drifts, as soon as you become aware of it, just come back to being aware of the breath again. You don't need to follow the thoughts, correct your thinking, because it's not your thinking. It's simply the mind being busy. And that is the greatest bill of goods that we've been sold, the false bill of goods we've been sold, is that somehow we are doing the thinking. No, we are the one that is aware of the thinking. We are the ones that is aware of the thoughts. And if you have a belief with that thought, we're the one that's aware of that belief. And based on the thought and belief, if you have a feeling that comes along with it, we're the one that's aware of the feeling. You are conscious awareness. That's who you are. So as soon as the thought comes in, you can simply notice it, allow it to simply pass on by, and come back to being consciously aware of the breath right now in this moment. And if your mind has drifted, just simply coming back to the present moment, coming back to being aware of your breath, which is coming back home to who you are, the one that is aware of the thoughts, the beliefs, the feelings, and aware of the breath. And again, if your mind has drifted, just simply come back to being aware of your breath as it gently flows in and gently flows out like the waves of an ocean. Coming back to the moment once again, just being a witness to your breath. if your mind is busy, just notice the thoughts. Allow them to gently, easily, effortlessly pass on by, and come back to being consciously aware of your breath. And it doesn't matter what the thought is. I don't like this meditation, it's too long, I'm bored, I'm restless. Whatever the thought is, I can assure you it's only a thought. All truth comes from a place rooted as peace, joy, and love within. Anything other than that is just a thought from the mind. And just coming back to the present moment, being consciously aware of your breath. again, just coming back to the present moment and being conscious and aware of your breath. So we're going to finish the meditation a little earlier than usual today. And if there's anyone out there that would like to continue meditating, please mute or turn your device off. And thank you so much for joining me today. And for those of you who are ready to finish, just taking in a nice deep breath. Making sure you're fully rooted, fully grounded in this physical body that supports you on this earth. And just moving your body a little bit, wiggle your toes, fingers, stretching. And taking your time, and whenever you're ready, opening your eyes. And I'm just going to take a quick peek to see if anybody revealed who's out there. So I'll go on Facebook first. And Cheryl says you're listening, so thank you for joining, my friend. Thank you. And I don't know, maybe, Cheryl, there was somebody else that was with you for a little bit, but you're probably the main person on it. Let me check YouTube also. And of course, you guys are welcome to ask questions or anything too. Probably the main person on it. Let me check YouTube also. So, and Sandy, yes, some sunshine would be nice, right? You're right again. Okay, well, thanks for joining, you guys. I appreciate you so much. Namaste. Have a beautiful day. All right, bye-bye. I don't usually fall asleep. I fell asleep 3 times in that one. Yeah.